Hi everyone. In week 4 of 2-year Algebra 2A, we begin Unit 1, Topic 2. We will look at SLT 6, graphing radical functions expressed symbolically and show key features of the graph involving quadratics, and SLT 7, which does the same thing as SLT 6 except looks at cubic functions. Let's consider the equation y equals x squared, and we can see some of the points on the original function. And then, as we studied in Unit 1, Topic 1, on the inverse function, you're going to flip essentially the x and the y. Now let's look at the graphs of these equations. The purple dots are the ones for y equals x squared. There's actually a purple dot here at 0, 0. And the green dots are for the inverse of y, which is the square root of x. Does the inverse graph represent a function, y or y not? We know it doesn't represent a function because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. But what happens if we restrict the domain of y equals x squared to numbers greater than or equal to 0? Then the inverse would be a function because you would only be dealing with the positive portion of the curve. Let's look at transformations of square root functions. Consider the following equation: y equals the square root of x plus 3 minus 2. Here is your parent function of y equals the square root of x. If you notice, y equals the square root of x plus 3 minus 2 is shifted over 3 to the left and down 2. Now we're going to look at cubic functions. Let's consider some points in the graph of f of x equals x cubed, as well as points on the inverse function, which would be the cube root of x. Here, the purple graph is f of x equals x cubed, and the green graph is the inverse function, the cube root of x. In this case, does the inverse graph represent a function, y or y not? Well, since the inverse would pass the vertical line test, we can say that the inverse graph does represent a function, and you don't have to restrict the domain as you had to with f of x equals x squared. Transformations of cube roots are similar with transformation of quadratics. Consider the cube root of x minus 3 plus 2. The graph in red is the cube root of x, and then we've moved it over 3 and up 2 to create the graph in blue. Thank you for watching this video, and we hope that it helps you understand SLT 6 and SLT 7.